Everybody to the Rye Town Council meeting of May 16th, 2017. Please rise and let's see, I think Laura Klein, will you lead us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Heavenly Father, bless this assemblage. Grant us the wisdom to make our every decision fair-minded and in the best interest for all its residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Please be seated. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lindsay Jackson.
Present.
Councilperson Thomas Nardi.
Present.
Councilperson Anthony Baxter.
Here.
Councilperson William Villanova. And Supervisor Gary Zuckerman.
Present. Thank you. Has everybody read the minutes? And if there are no corrections or additions, may I have a motion and a second to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Thank you. Comments from the public? Are there any comments from the public? Hearing none, we'll go to the communications and resolutions. Resolution number 1, the 2017 Independence Day celebration donation. We do this every year. We have $1,500 in the budget. Last year, I believe we gave $2,000. Is that correct? Yes. What is the pleasure of the town board?
Make a motion that we adhere to the budget and donate $1,500.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I know that I had the opportunity to attend it last year, and it was fantastic. The volunteers really do a great job.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilperson Jackson.
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi.
Yes.
Councilperson Baxter.
Yes.
Councilperson Villanova.
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman.
Yes, thank you. Second resolution is authorizing a grant application for the capstone team for Crawford Park. As many of you know, the capstone team from NYU Wagner Graduate School of Public Service performed a service for the Rye Town Park Commission, of which obviously the town of Rye is a major part, to analyze the conditions at Rye Town Park and make recommendations. That report is now on the website of the Rye Town Park Commission, which can be accessed through the Town of Rye website. And the report is 53 pages long and is very comprehensive. We are making an application to Capstone to do a similar service for Crawford Park. And let me just, as part of the resolution, it will assist the town in formulating a long-term vision for Crawford that will maximize the park's public use and minimizing damage to its environment, satisfying the varied needs of its stakeholders, direct its budgeting and investment, capitalize on its unique attributes as a town center for a diverse population, et cetera. I think this is an excellent opportunity for us to increase our ability to coalesce out all of our stakeholders, all the residents of the town, around this direction. And of course, the Friends of Crawford Park will be an integral part of this. And I think you also, they are here now. Some of them are here. And I think they're happy to support this. So further comments? Let me have a motion and a second, please.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Further discussion? Any?
I think after seeing what the capstone students were able to do with Rye Town Park, I'm really excited about the opportunities for Crawford Park. I think improvements to Crawford Park and Rye Town Park are sort of at a different spot. And I'm excited to see sort of, since we're in agreement about the renovations and improvements are being made, sort of what their long-term vision is and what it can be for the community. I know last week or a couple of weeks ago, we had a little charrette to discuss different uses for the building, especially with the handicapped accessible features that are going to be in it. So I'd like to see sort of what people from the outside looking in, as well as people in the community, come up with for this park. It'll be great, I'm sure.
Thank you. No further comments. Please call the roll.
Councilperson Jackson,
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi,
Yes.
Councilperson Baxter,
Yes.
Councilperson Villanova,
Yes.
and Supervisor Zuckerman.
Yes, thank you. The next two resolutions are regarding our climate-smart community. Before we get to them, I have a short announcement. Through our grant writer, Judy Eisenberg, we have been able to obtain a grant for an electric vehicle charging station in the amount of $16,000, which will be installed in Crawford Park as part of our renovation. This fund, we will be matching that, but we applied for it. We have been granted it, and it will be part of the major renovations that are ongoing. And it's part of our drive to be a climate-smart community. Our leader in that regard is Councilman Anthony Baxter, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Tony, to explain whatever you'd like to explain about climate-smart communities.
Well, it's very exciting news about the charging port. That was something that we proposed a couple of months ago. The grant was written, and we just found out recently that it was secured. So we're excited about that. We are looking to reactivate our sustainability committee. One of the first steps that we'd like to take, that is the resolution in front of you tonight, is to become a registered climate-smart community, which means that we are adhering to the pledges that are listed at the bottom of the resolution. That's the first step. By simply passing the resolution, we become a registered climate-smart community. Then we start rolling up our sleeves, and the hard work begins to become a certified climate-smart community, which means there's a checklist of items that we want to go through and make sure that we're adhering to, much of which we are doing currently. We just have to document and make sure that we're on record as having done so. So this is something that obviously I have an interest in. Judy's been very, very integral in getting this up and running, as Debbie, and we look forward to bringing more to you as we have it.
Thank you. We have the two resolutions. One is the adoption of this Climate Smart Communities Pledge, and this is an official form that every climate smart community has to pass. So may I have a motion and second on this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
If there's is there any further discussion? Then please call the roll.
Councilperson Jackson,
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi,
Yes.
Councilperson Baxter,
Yes.
Councilperson Villanova,
Yes.
and Supervisor Zuckerman.
Yes. The second resolution is to appoint a climate smart coordinator. Now that we are striving to be a climate smart community, we need to have a coordinator. And this resolution provides to create the position of climate smart coordinator. And guess who is going to be our climate smart coordinator? Oh, it's
Short
Anthony
straw.
Baxter. May I have a motion and a second?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it
Thanks.
with great enthusiasm.
With enthusiasm. Please call the roll.
Councilperson Jackson,
I don't know. No. Yes.
Councilperson Nardi,
Yes.
Councilperson Baxter,
Yes.
Councilperson Villanova,
Yes.
and Supervisor Zuckerman.
Yes. Tony, I was waiting for you to say no.
I thought about it.
Just another announcement. Tony will not be working on this alone. Obviously, all of us will, but he will be helped. His right hand will be our intern from last year, Isabel Schindler, who did a terrific job for us as an intern and very competent, and she's already been working with Judy and with Tony, getting her feet wet. I think she's going to be starting immediately after school ends to get going. And we look forward to the team making us truly a climate smart, certified climate smart coordinator. The next item is authorization for Blind Brook seniors to volunteer at Crawford Park. I think they've already been volunteering. I think they're doing it for their community service. And I see 4 of them sitting there right now. They are volunteering under the auspices of the Friends of Crawford Park, and I think they've also been helped by some of our other people up there, such as our maintenance staff, et cetera. Am I correct? And I think Tom Nardi has something to do with it.
Yeah, we're
Car
gonna have,
washing?
yeah, we're gonna have I gotta, probably one day next week. I just gotta
Okay.
check my schedule as well.
So this is to officially appoint them as volunteers for the town. And Paulie DeMeglio is going to be the official chaperone because they're under 21. So may I have a motion and a second? We'll take additional comments thereafter.
So moved.
Second?
I'll,
Go ahead.
you worked with them.
I'll second it.
Okay, do we have any other comments? Laura, do you want to say anything? Teresa, do
I
you want to
just-
say
I
anything?
just have one quick question.
Sure.
Are they volunteering already?
Yes.
Okay, so just from a policy standpoint, this is a resolution that should have come to us prior to the, almost, after the fact now.
But they just started, and this was not official until a little while
I
ago.
understand, but we're officially letting people work in the park, and I'm supporting it, but I would say that in the future, we should probably get the resolution earlier on before we have them working. I mean,
Right.
the consensus is we're gonna support this because this is a feel-good thing, but what would happen now if we said no, right? But I'm just, from I know. So
And they wouldn't graduate.
so from professional staff, and for the kids that are volunteering, policy and procedure is very important in life. So let's
Right, so.
do that right next time.
So they had signed a hold harmless form, and we got on the phone with Jeff Bender. We kind of talked about like how to make this happen from a legal standpoint. And yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we were held up because I was hoping to get this signed from their parents before I could have a go-ahead and say,
Right.
yes, they are actually volunteering. I wanted some waiver. Actually, what I wanted the school to give us, which they didn't, is proof of insurance, listing the town as additionally insured.
Right.
They withheld that, so then I was like waiting for the last second, going, what's going on? Are we even going to do this? That's why we're coming to you in May when they started in May. They started, when did you guys start? Last Monday.
So it's a week.
Okay.
Good job.
All right.
That's good. I support it. I just think that we should be a little bit better with this.
Our broker reminded us that there's a mechanism already established that to declare them volunteers is they're covered under NYMER's, our insurance policy, which is what we did for the Eagle Scouts.
Yeah, that's why we had to declare them volunteers. I mean, that's the purpose. Otherwise, if the school had covered them under their insurance, we wouldn't have to have this resolution.
Right.
Okay, the resolution is to declare them volunteers so they could be covered under our insurance policy.
And so keeping in mind with the comment regarding Eagle Scouts didn't do any work until we approved it. So, thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Supervisor. I appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Great. So,
Okay.
I mean, just a quick recap what they're doing. I mean, it's perfect timing, and I hope that we can have this relationship next year, and we will definitely have them sworn in as
Yeah.
volunteers before they start. Because May is a great time to clear the invasive vines. They're spreading wood chips. They're resanding our benches. They're just doing a lot of great stuff, and they're big honking guys, so they get a lot done. So
That's great.
Questions for them?
Well, no, I think it's, well, one of them's going to Clemson.
no.
No? Okay.
He's just
So-
wearing a winner's shirt,
I
that's
think-
all.
There you go. I think it's a great, I think it's a great idea. So if this is something that, a relationship that you could, I don't know, maintain ongoing, I mean, because there's always projects that are happening throughout the town of Rye. So this could be a great opportunity for them for their hours, all of them, right?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. You know, I hope we can continue the relationship with the school district, because we're always looking for interns, we're always looking for volunteers, and it's good work that will be done. This is community work that serves a purpose. This benefits 50-some-odd thousand people of the town of Rye. This is not nothing work that you guys are doing. This is really helpful for your parents.
And they're working 100 hours each, so we get 400 hours of volunteer time.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Amazing.
It's good for them, too. They learn how to work.
I know.
Right, you like
I'm
it
sure
better,
you
right?
gentlemen
Right.
much rather be in class.
I don't think so. Especially not in May, right, which is beautiful out. This is the time to be there, in the park. All right.
Great. Can I
Thank
just,
you, Laura.
I
Sure.
missed my public speaking gigs. We have 2 more things going on this weekend. We are so busy. So we have our Music at the Mansion show on this Saturday night with a great Japanese jazz musician trio. And what's really kind of cool is that a Japanese TV film company is coming to televise her and interview the audience and stuff, so it'll be a really fun thing. And then secondly, our spring planting day is Sunday on the 21st. So a lot of stuff happening in the park and with the friends. And the time for the planting is 10 to 2 on Sunday, and the show on Saturday starts at 8.
Okay, terrific, terrific. Laura, while you're up there, do you want to give a Crawford Park report?
Wow, okay.
Usually I do it, or Debbie does it, but you're here.
Okay, things are going great in the park. I mean, the playground is almost finished. I think that Pat said he was going to have it done by the end of the month, correct? And they're working hard on the pavilion. That should be done in time for the Rybrook birthday party, which is on June 17. Lindsay talked about the focus group that we had kicking off what we're planning on doing for a community outreach program for enhancing and making the mansion turn into a community center. A lot of great progress is happening.
I know, and the bid packages went out on the sensory garden.
Oh, yes, right.
And I think
Those are due
they're
June
due
1st?
June 3rd, I thought.
June
First?
1st, June 3rd, June 1st. Okay, June 1st.
June 1st, okay.
Yeah.
And so by the next meeting, we will award we'll make an award to the bid winner of the sensory garden.
Right.
And that's great. And then we just have to worry about that little thing called the mansion.
Yeah, it's going to be big, but it'll be great. It's all good stuff.
is, it
Thank you
is.
so much. You guys have been such a supportive board for the park, and things are really happening. And also thanks, I mean, you had to, in order to make this happen with our volunteers here, we had to have park attendants be on staff so that if anything happened, they would be, around. So, in order to make that happen, we had to staff up to have attendants while they're working their 5-hour days. So they made that happen quickly, and that was great.
Thank
So
you.
thanks for your support.
Thank you. And of course, we applaud you and Teresa and all the friends of the park for the work that you do.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The last item on the communications and resolutions is to have a discussion about a home rule resolution regarding the Rye Town Park long-term license. We are not going to do a resolution. This is only for discussion. We passed a resolution in support at the commission, but what the town will need to do is to pass a home rule resolution at a later date. You've all received the email containing the proposed changes to the Rye Town Park legislation regarding long-term restaurant license. The legislation will provide, for among other things, a license for up to 20 years. That will enable us to go out for an RFP to get a new operator, which may or may not be the current operator, who's doing a very good job so far with the Ocean Grill. And this is really for discussion purposes to alert the board, to alert the public, that at some point we will need to pass a resolution, and it will probably necessitate calling a special meeting. The state has forms, which I just found out about. We don't need to make our own resolution. They have a form that both Assemblyman Otis and Senator Latimer's office have that we will be passing at the appropriate time, but we cannot do it until the bill is actually introduced and assigned a bill number by the state legislature, which hopefully will be within the week. So just to alert the town board about that, the legislation is in the packet. It's not very complicated, and basically it provides for a one-time long-term lease. If the lease, when the lease expires, the legislature will have to act again on another long-term lease. I should say license. It's not a lease, a license. And it requires the approval. Any agreement will require the approval of the mayor of the city of Rye and the supervisor of the town of Rye. And I think that's the main highlights. So I'm just alerting. Is there any discussion that the council would like to have about this?
I mean, I think that this is excellent if we can get this done for the long-term lease program, or a long-term lease. It's hard when you have such short-term leases from a business perspective to get someone to invest in the infrastructure of the restaurant itself and build up a business. So I think this will be great for the park. This will be a great asset if this comes to fruition.
Is this resolution supported by the city of Rye?
It will be, yeah.
Okay.
It will be. We're not passing that resolution. The commission passed a very,
Similar.
the commission passed a resolution today. Actually, the commission passed a resolution in January supporting it, and we passed another smaller resolution citing that resolution and supporting the legislation that is now being proposed, because at that time we were proposing things to be in the legislation. Now we have the actual draft legislation that we're supporting, and the city of Rye and the town of Rye will pass home rule requests at a later date.
All right.
Which
then-
I'm warning you, we're gonna have to call a special meeting for.
Yeah, and so, but obviously we've missed the window for this year's legislation.
No, that's why we're doing it. It will be done in June.
Okay.
That's why we're pushing it along. The Assemblyman couldn't introduce it till the budget was passed because nobody was working on anything except the budget. And now that the budget is passed, the other legislation is moving along. Okay, our reports. I guess Denise, you probably want to go first, and you have a presentation. Is the pleasure of the commission that we wait for the presentation and do all the other reports?
Good idea.
Okay, so Denise, we'll do you at the end. Okay? Finance, wait on you. Mr. Receiver.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, honorable members of the Town Board. Nicholas Mecca, Receiver of Taxes from Port Chester. First of all, I wish to extend my apology to any of our taxpayers that experience problems with the county bills. There were some that were issued duplicately, and some inadvertently sent a second check. We have processed the vouchers, and those people will be refunded very shortly. Okay, now coming up, we are now coming into the village bills. The 2 villages get a bill this end of this month. The village of Portchester is a white bill. 50% is due by the end of June. The village of Rybrook is a yellow bill. 2/3 are due by the end of June. If you do not receive these bills by the first week in June, please call our office and we will look into it. And I do believe that Denise will we have something new that we've been working on. The bills will be online. Everyone can go out there and actually see their own bill. Right now, we just have the 2017 county and town, but we will add the villages and the schools, and hopefully we will go back and get 3 years out there. So if anybody, like many people call, they want to know what their taxes were for the last 3 years, they can go out there and actually make copies of the bills. Another big plus is for people that have escrow. They never see a bill because the bill electronically goes to their mortgage company and is paid. The only thing they see at year end is a statement of how much taxes they paid. But everyone will be able to go out online and actually see their physical bill. Now, right now, you have to do it through the assessment package, which is, if you look in SDG, you'll see where it says tax information and then tax bill. We're going to pull that over into the receiver's website so that you can go out there directly. So I think it's exciting, and I think it's something really special, and I think everyone can take advantage of it.
That's great, Nick.
So
Thank you so much.
Any questions for me? Okay.
Great
Thank you.
job. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
And it comes Memorial Day. It's time for the bill, but everyone enjoy your Memorial Day anyway.
Thank you, Nick. The town clerk, you have submitted your report. Do you have anything else to add? The superintendent of highways has submitted a report.
I
We're-
have a question on that. I guess because the Hillside Avenue Bridge is done, I have a new pet project.
Let me
The-
guess, it's in Mamaroneck.
It is in Mamaroneck.
There you go.
See? The Solomon Gedney Cemetery, the wall, has there been any update on that? Because I know it says in the report that the grounds are in good condition, but as discussed previously, there was some concern about the wall that separates it from Bellows.
I'm glad that you asked because it is on Debbie's radar.
I
Fell
know.
off my radar.
Great
Debbie,
minds think alike.
We spoke to Dolph Rothfeld last year during the winter time, and he was preparing something to, I say something because one of his ideas was that we may actually be able to push the wall back into shape rather than tearing it down and rebuilding it. So we have to speak to Dolph and see what the status of that is. But thank you for bringing it up. Yes. And you bring up Hillside Avenue, the report is submitted, but there was a conference call. Debbie, why don't you tell about the conference call, because you were on the call.
The conference call was to, first of all, the committee is consisting of representatives from the 3 municipalities, the village of Mamaroneck being the lead agency, the town of Rye, and the town of Mamaroneck. The RFP the request for qualifications, RFQ, went out. We received 6 proposals. Everyone on the committee received a set of proposals, went through them, and the conference call was a discussion among us to select the top 3 and to go through the state scorecard that is required by the DOT. So that's exactly what we did. We reached a fair amount of consensus with regard to the top 3 consultants who would be supervising the construction and creating design drawings. And the next step is interviews and then making a recommendation to the Village of Mamaroneck Council.
Thank you. Tom, you have anything to add?
No, that about summed it up.
Thank you. Let's do finance next. Davey? And then we'll do law.
I just have two updates. One is in connection with the tax receivable summary report. The month of April is the month we make the school districts whole. So we've made the school districts whole as of the end of April. And for this year, the make whole number was about 3.2 million, which was about $1 million higher than it was the previous year. And that's due to the Doral Conference Center having outstanding receivables, which is a first time thing, and you know, for them. The overall receivables are about $1 million higher than they were at the same time as of April 30th, due to that fact. Overall, we're doing very well with collection of and rent receivables. On the last page of your report, there's 5 properties from the class of 16, but 2 of those properties, the Tollgate properties, paid in full as of May 3rd, so that will be on the May report. So there's only 3 properties left out of the 22 from last year's in REM, and I guess we can get an update from Dan Tartaglia as far as those 3 properties on the status
I
of
thought there
those.
was only 2. I thought there was only the 2 Barcella properties.
1093 King Street is still shown. It's a small, very small property. It's just a, right.
Dan is going to send a letter directly to them.
Okay. It's right. It's really a non-factor, but it is a parcel, so I do include it.
Okay.
The other update I have is in connection with the audit. The audit is planned to be the presentation for the June meeting. Overall, we did very, very well for 2016. The surplus in the general fund was $740,000, and the budget was a $160,000 deficit. So the variance is a $900,000 positive to budget. So that will be presented in detail at the June meeting, and the board will have a resolution to approve the audit report.
Okay, terrific.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's it.
Thanks, Dave.
Do you have anything, Mr. Attorney? Jeff? Nothing? Okay. That leaves the assessor. Assessor's report.
I don't have a microphone here, but maybe this one will work. But if you all wouldn't mind coming down here, I believe I'm gonna bring the screen around and set up the PowerPoint, and you'll be good to go. Watch out. Microphone, do you know if that one? Oh, you got it, Debbie, good, thank you. All right, I don't know if that, I guess that's okay, beautiful.
You might want to turn that down in case it's in the way.
Testing, good, we're good, okay. Now, this version of PowerPoint, I've never dealt with it before, so if there are some glitches, if you could bear with me, I would greatly appreciate it. First, I have to turn the thing on, see if it works, hopefully. And I guess we probably should put some lights out. I don't know, I may need Fred, but, oh, looks like it may be working, or it doesn't look like my screen. Well, oh, it's connecting, all right. Not yet.
You need to move it to the left a little bit.
Move it to the left. That we can do. That's easy. Okay. I guess if I click, I'm just. Ah, here we go. Now I don't know which. I'm so sorry. Version this is coming in at. Why is this not showing? Oh, well, no. Well, it's on the laptop. Let's try. That's weird. Let's close this. No? Fred? You there, Fred? Oh, shoot.
Fred?
Fred? Oh, we got something here. I guess that's good enough. Okay. So I'm sorry you're going to see these little thumbnails here, but let's just move on to keep things rolling. So my presentation this evening is about some of the assessment and enhancement and initiatives we have been doing. One of the first ones is street level photography. And basically what is that? It's simply imagery captured from the street, but it's not only of the subject parcel, it's of all of the elements surrounding the subject, as long as they're visible from the street. It's photography taken from a camera mounted atop a vehicle that snaps a photo approximately every 15 feet. Now, a lot of you know this essentially as Google Maps in Street View, but the thing is that the New York State Office of Real Property Services and the Department of Tax and Finance has guidelines for cyclical reassessment, and they indicate that in lieu of an office, a field review, an office review may be done as long as you're using street level photography that was taken within 3 years of the reassessment year. And that also includes the years that you're doing valuation updates, because it all is very important to keeping the values current and accurate. The other thing they indicate is that the photographic images available through Google Earth and Bing do not qualify for office review. So that is why we hired a company to do the street level photography. The International Association of Assessing Officers also has a standard on periodic site inspections, and that includes digital imagery tools to replace cyclical field inspections, so that you can use the street level photography as long as it's updated every 6 years, and also aerial photography, which should also be updated between 6 and 10 years, and that is probably the next initiative that we will try to undertake. So this is an example of a photo of the town's 2009 street level photography done by Geospan, and you will see the same parcel in different applications and how it changes over time.
Where was that, Francis Lane?
Bonwit.
Bonwit?
32 Bonwit. So in this program called Facet, which was available in 2010 to all of the assessors in Westchester County, that was made available to us by Westchester County, you can get a picture of the property and it ties it to the tax map. So this was another step integrating the photography with the tax map. You type in your parcel ID, you're taken right to the parcel. This shows the van camera view, and this is a little bit archaic, and remember it's 7 years old, where we would have to click on these breadcrumbs to go around the street to see the angles and the different photographs that were taken. Now, let me just scroll down a little bit here, make sure I'm on the right one. This one is of the same Facet software, and there's an aerial view available, but as you can see, it isn't really useful. And now we move to our new 2017 program through iLookAbout. That is the company we contracted to shoot the street level photography. Same parcel, now the house is gone. And this is the main photo in this layout. And if we go to the next layout, we can move these different layouts to whatever one we want to see the most of. and it also indicates all of the parcels that I previously looked at. And it shows the green and purple, it's a little bit hard to see, push pins of where the photographs were taken. And generally they were taken 15 feet apart from each other, so you get several different angles. The user can also add or delete what is known as a viewport for a different vantage point. So in this last photo here, this is their fisheye. It's what they call their fisheye or close-up camera view. So I took that view and I zoomed in really close, and I could see the backhoe that they were using for their work. So it's in the details. The fisheye view allows you to check out details such as the brand of the backhoe being used or who is running the equipment. And I'm just being joking there, but really we would look at things like how many gas meters there are, mailboxes, what condition the roof is in, and all these different elements of the property that we could take a close look at. But seriously, I look about, make sure that the faces, license plates, and any other potential private information is blurred from the photograph. I don't know if you can see where this gentleman's face would be, but it is blurred out. And the beauty of iLookabout is that they, unlike Facet, selected the single best photo for all the parcels they delivered to us so that they could be uploaded into our RPS assessment database and into our other web applications. So as you can see, this is the before picture and this is the after picture that will be uploaded into our assessment database. And this particularly recently has been invaluable while we have been, working on building permits while we've not had the opportunity to go out in the field to confirm the status of the property. So for this parcel, I was able to confirm that the demolition permit included all the elements of the property improvements were gone, including the foundation. And this is our SDG ImageMate online site, and it's a little hard to see because it's small here, but this is that same photo that they have already uploaded into this site that's available for anybody to view. And this is also what Nick had alluded to about the tax bills. I believe this tab here is about tax information. We can click on that, and then you can access the tax bills. Some of the other things we've been doing are advances in GIS with SDG. They have been a great company to work for. And what is SDG? Essentially, it's connecting data with geography. So this way you can understand what belongs where, because if you won't fully understand your data until you see how it relates to other things. So a geographic information system really comes down to 4 simple ideas. Create geographic data, manage it, analyze it, and display it on a map. And these are the essential functions of a GIS. So it's a computer-based tool that analyzes, stores, manipulates, and visualizes geographic information on a map. And all of our parcels are tied with geographic information, grid coordinates. Oh, shoot. Sorry. So GIS is a perfect tool for problem solving. In this instance, we were trying to figure out if our parcels that were split between school districts were coded correctly in our database with the right school district. It started out looking like this. So we had a map, and we're drawing a line, and we're seeing, okay, there's some issues with some of these parcels. And we asked the Westchester County GIS Department to plot the parcels on the map showing the school district codes. The Blindbrook district is in red and Portchester is in blue. And in the next slide you'll see these details, but before I move on to that, I want to say that the Department of GIS was kind enough. They are not there to create maps for municipalities, unfortunately. Their work is for the county. But if you have a good relationship with them, every once in a while you can ask for a favor. So this is one of the favors I asked for.
Have any properties been changed?
Yes.
The school district with regards to this?
Yes, good question. So in the,
And what is the net gain or loss for the municipalities?
we have it in an Excel spreadsheet. It's not huge. It's really just a small shift, but
What streets?
I can show you in the next slide. So, although it's a little hard to read, but we as you can see visually, quickly, that these parcels here were flip-flopped. I call them flip-flop. They were inverted. These here and these here. So once we coded this parcel with the Blindbrook School District and this one with the Portchester School District and so on, they were all corrected. What street? Lee Lane? It's in that vicinity, yeah. So I'd have to go, I could certainly give you a detailed report on the specific parcels.
I would like to know that, and for the parcels that have property lines running through them, that delineate the different municipalities, are they still using that, rule of thumb that it's where the bedrooms are that determine?
No.
So how are you making that determination?
You could have just a very small piece of vacant land in one district, and it would allow you to use that district.
So it's the owner's choice?
It's the owner's choice. And
I think, by the way, I think the rule may be different for municipalities and school districts. That I think the bedroom rule may be for municipalities. If the municipal line, as opposed to the school line, goes through the bedroom. I think that may be what you're referring to. I'm not 100% sure, but I think, whereas for the school district, any part of the property in the school district, you can go to that school.
And we had a recent case, I can give you more details on that, but basically it was a very small parcel in dispute. If I recall correctly, it was literally 13 square feet. And we got the superintendent of the BOCES district area involved in this one, and he made a determination that it was in the Blindbrook School District. And so the realtor was able to indicate that the district could be the Blindbrook School District, but it was a vacant parcel, very, very small.
If you could let us know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as you can see, everything's identified. And since I didn't want to go back to the well and ask the county to take our corrections and make a new map, I asked STG, who works with us closely, to create a new map. And again, I'll give you the details in the next slide. But as you can see here, that line is now smoothed out. This parcel is in question. We're wondering, well, really, does it go with Blindbrook or does it go with Portchester? But it's a park, so it doesn't particularly matter per se.
Well,
But
it does matter. I would say it does matter. I don't know what Gary's thoughts are, but that's a Rye Brook parcel.
well, okay, we've reached out to Dr. Coles from BOCES superintendent, the same gentleman we worked with before, just to get a confirmation of what he's seeing on the school district map, and we'll take it from there. Because we just want to get it right. That's the main thing.
Is that Rye Hills Park?
Yes.
Okay, so in the next slide, we have the details. And as you can see, those parcels that were identified as being flip-flopped or inverted are now corrected. And there's no jag in that line per se. The next GIS initiative we're working on is neighborhood codes, which are extremely important in valuation. And the Office of Real Property Services indicates you have to have a neighborhood with statistically significant number of sales, which is usually 15 within 3 years. So none of our neighborhoods have a problem, but it's good to make sure the neighborhood is homogeneous. So this is what I was working with initially. We took the RPS data and had it mapped, and now we can see it on a map, and we can work with this and analyze it and make sure we have it correct, and it's taking us one step further. And the last couple of slides, this is the sort of not ready for prime time, but I'm going to show it to you anyway, is our assessment to sales price comparison. We call it a heat map. And basically, it's showing how close we are. Let's put it that way. Let's look at the glass half full. How close we are of assessments to sale price, and how far away we are sometimes. And so the next slide will just show you the details, so it's a little easier to read. The green parcels, green means go, we're good, are on target, within a 5% tolerance, which is basically what the Office of Real Property Services allows us. And yellow parcels are over assessed by 5 to 15%. Gray with a yellow border, under assessed by 5 to 15%. Red are over assessed by more than 15%. And gray with a red border are under assessed by more than 15%. Now, in this particular screenshot of Mamaroneck, that one parcel stands out, so I researched that in detail. And basically, the assessment was adjusted after the sale because we found additional inventory and condition, and then they took out a building permit. So this sales map incorporates sales from 2014 because the Office of Real Property Services looks at 3 years' worth of sales. So this is a starting point. It's a tool. I like what I see. There are things maybe differently I'd want to see or additional layers. But again, we literally just produced this about 10 days ago, and it could be a very valuable tool. But you have to look closely at the outliers, because even though this says to you, okay, well, that parcel's overassessed by 15%, well, there's more to it than just sales price to assessment. And basically that's it. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to undertake them. Yes, Debbie?
When you flipped some of the parcels that were in the wrong school district, did that have an impact on children and what school they attended?
That we wouldn't know, because some parcels potentially might not have any kids in the school.
It is going to affect where the taxes go, paying for the school district.
Well, each part of the parcel would pay their tax rate.
Exactly. So whenever any of these houses in the
Can we do this on top? Because
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to close this up?
Yes.
We good? Okay, thanks. Go up to the podium, or is it good, or?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay.
We put the lights on again.
So these properties that are being changed, so the question is, what is the loss, right? The net gain or loss for taxes for the school districts. Okay, so in this case, we're talking, I think, Portchester and, in this instance, Portchester and Blindbrook. Then there also may be a net gain or loss of students. Okay, that area is primarily single-family homes, so there may be a net gain or loss of students.
Correct.
We need to take a lot of this into consideration. Busing routes, there's a lot. I think that there is that decision in its purest form. You're trying to be very accurate, but I would say that there are probably 10 different items that may be impacted making those changes. So I think that it's something, a discussion that needs to be had with the school district whenever any change like that takes place. I think it's important.
Okay, and I do have the spreadsheet that would show the shift, but it is only 6 homes. I mean, that's...
6 homes could be 12 kids. It could change a bus route in the morning, adding 15, 20 minutes to a bus route. It can change the amount of tax that a family pays on a home. There's a lot of impact locally. So I want to make sure that we get that right.
I think Billy's correct, but I think at bottom, we need to get it right.
Right, and that's,
Hopefully we'll only have to do it one time.
Right,
And-
but, you know-
And it won't affect too many people, but Bill's absolutely right. It will have an effect if a child who's been going to one school district all of a sudden says, I gotta go to a different school district. May not, because if the line is split, then it's not really gonna have an effect, because they would have had a choice. It would be different if the entire property moved from one to the other.
correct. Yeah, the property was already split between the two
Yeah,
districts,
so
so they
they-
still had that option. But it was really just getting it correct, and that's how it had been for years. But
Absolutely.
it's the kind of thing where, with new technology, you can really see what it is. The Westchester County Tax Commissioner did a similar study on sewer districts, and it just jumped out at her what parcels were in the wrong sewer district or special district, whatever she was doing, but that was rather interesting. And she happened to use the town of Rye as one of her examples. So that's something available if we ever want
Yeah,
to
well,
take a look
sewer
at that as
districts
well.
And we're talking school districts, you have the municipal lines as well.
Correct. Not only that, that's another project we're working on for the summer. We have all the parcels identified that are split between municipalities, and we also have the unique situation of parcels that are split with the state of Connecticut and Greenwich. So it's really important for us to identify those, understand those, because those also play a role in valuation and how the sales and the properties are looked at.
Right. Any other report?
Just quickly, our May 1st exemptions deadline has passed. As of yesterday, we were still accepting additional docs from the seniors. If anybody has anything they're supposed to submit, they need to come in immediately. Also, the Citizens Task Force on Assessment has been holding informational meetings on how to challenge your assessment. I believe the last one is this Thursday evening at Rhinebeck High School at 7:30, correct? Okay, good. And the next thing is June 1st or June 2nd, the most important date we have basically in the assessment calendar. It's when everybody's new assessment comes out. And we encourage everybody to check their new assessment online as soon as possible. If you believe you couldn't sell your property, residential owners, if you can't sell your property for what it's assessed for, then you have an opportunity to file a grievance. The grievances are accepted June 2nd through the third Tuesday in June, which happens to be June 20th this year. And that is grievance day, and you're welcome to come and explain your situation to the Board of Assessment Review, and that begins the process. If you have any doubts whether you should file or not, file, because it's a placeholder. You can always withdraw, but if you don't file, you're out of the running. So it's important, if you feel that there's an inequity, to file. And that's basically my report.
Thanks. I have one comment, Denise. Mentioned the assessment task force. I was requested, and I did reach out to the county of Westchester, to the person who is the IT person responsible for the GIS flyovers. And that person I will invite to, I had hoped to invite the person to the May 24th meeting, but you have another item on your agenda, so I will invite the person
Great.
to come to the following meeting.
Right, because we're kind of teetering on, is the county going to do a flyover and potentially make it available to the municipalities? Or does the municipality have to spend another $20,000 to do its own flyover? And in the past, they shared it with the munis.
I can
and
go over that with you. I spoke with the
so
gentleman.
it's a good, that's a good thing. Okay, thank you. And the staff. I got to talk about the staff briefly. I'm sorry. We have a new appraiser, Gordon Casement, so it's great to have somebody on board. He's a commercial appraiser, so he's going to bring a wealth of knowledge to the job. He's also the chairman of his BAR in Phillipstown, Cold Spring, Garrison area. And I really have to thank the staff for their amazing work during this time while we were shorthanded. Everybody has stepped up to the plate, from Richard doing the analysis of the seniors' income, which involves checking out IRA earnings and tax returns, and it's a rather involved process, doing a great job with that. Rosie keeping all the details together. Everybody's working late, putting in extra time, and Maria, who steps up to the plate to do building permits without even being asked. Before Charlie left, she's like, show me how to do this, and she's right in there, and they're all fabulous, and I just want to say thank you to them. And yes, we also had part-timers helping out. Vivian from Hope's office, she was terrific, and we had a part-timer come in from account temps. So everybody has been fabulous, really, I have to say.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to have a motion first for an executive session to discuss a specific personnel issue. That's for the council and for the attorney, for the chief of staff. May I have such a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are not expected to come back into public session after this, so may I have a motion to adjourn?
Just council comment?
I forgot council
That's-
comment. Before the motion to adjourn, may I ask for council comments? Bill?
Oh, okay. So I just want to confirm from the staff, Debbie, hi. We're paying our staff to supervise the volunteers.
That is correct.
Okay.
Well, I would phrase it chaperone. I would not say supervisor.
Okay, we're going to chaperone them, and so we're paying them. So we're paying 100 hours of this. Okay, so I don't know if anybody else picked up on that,
I
but
picked
you know,
up on it.
all of our decisions, and this is the reason why I do not like to make decisions after the fact, because now this is a budget implication. So the $1,500 has to come out of the budget. We didn't budget for it for 2017. Now here's another expense that we weren't expecting. So I think it's very important. I know it's not a lot of money, right? But you know, there's $1,500 here, and you know, when it comes time at the end of the year, and we're talking about you know, possibly, you know, increases for our staff and things of that nature, we need to be smarter about that, because this could be impactful, right?
You're right.
Okay, the meeting time, it's a stickler for me. I strongly urge the board and the supervisor to make our meetings at 8 o'clock. You know, we have our meeting scheduled for 7:30. We never hit that 7:30. And I would, please take it under consideration that we hold our meetings at 8 o'clock. Tonight's meeting started at 8:15. I think it's important that we change this meeting time. So, want to remind everybody to attend all of our local Memorial Day ceremonies. As Laura Klein mentioned, Music in the Mansions on the 20th at 8, Spring Plantings on the 21st from 10 to 2, and another very important item, we have our accountants in place for over 12 months now. They were supposed to provide us with updates, financial updates, budget updates, regularly. I have yet to see one from Navy or anybody in their department. So I have to express my disappointment that we have not received any of these updates. There was a whole discussion. We're going to get, you know, they needed time to get into everything.
We're going to get a dashboard.
Well,
That's right. And they will be here next month to give us a full report.
but we should be,
You're right.
we should
No,
be getting it on a, you
You're
know,
right, and
quickie.
it's been mentioned to them. Both Debbie and I have mentioned it to them.
So let me know if you need me to reach out to Navy. I'd be more than happy to speak to her. But I want that to be in place. I think it's important. 'Cause it's great that we're spending.
Bill,
to
you're
pay.
absolutely correct.
So, okay,
Absolutely
thank you.
correct. I think, by the way, they're doing a very good job for us, but they're not giving us the so-called dashboard information that we requested, and we will get it. Anything else, Tony?
No?
Lindsay, Tommy? And I've said what I've had to say. I think that it's a good meeting. Billy, one comment. The park meetings have actually gone a little bit earlier. This one went over. The last couple, I believe, did not. Take it under advisement. But as you can see, aside from Denise's presentation tonight, which we thank you for, we run a very tight ship at the town meeting.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And
Maybe we should flip it.
I was thinking that.
Have the town meeting first and let those people wait. Or maybe alternate, I don't know.
Well, the town meeting's at 6. Can everybody make it by 6?
If I need to, we'll do it.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
All right?
All right, so motion to go into executive session.
Yeah, that was already passed.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.